Mysterious tone. Some murders are solved within hours. Others remain unanswered for decades. No arrests, no convictions, no closure. Tonight, we examine 5 of America's most mysterious unsolved murders, cases that continue to haunt investigators and families alike. This is Crime X Analysis.
In the late 1960s, Northern California was terrorized by a killer who called himself Zodiac. He targeted young couples in isolated areas, attacked without warning, then did something unprecedented. He contacted the press. The Zodiac mailed letters to newspapers filled with cryptograms, threats, and chilling claims of responsibility. He taunted police. He demanded his codes be printed on the front page. At least 5 murders were officially linked to him. He claimed 37. Despite fingerprints, handwriting analysis, and even partial DNA decades later, no suspect was ever officially confirmed. The Zodiac case was complicated by multiple crime scenes, more advanced and terrorizing tactics, media involvement, and limited forensic technology in the 1960s. Several suspects have been publicly named over the years, but none conclusively proven. Was he an ordinary man living quietly among the public? Or did investigators overlook the crucial clue? More than 50 years later, the file remains open.
January 15, 1947. The body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short was found in Los Angeles. Her body had been severely mutilated. The case shocked the nation. The media nicknamed her the Black Dahlia. Over 150 suspects were questioned. False confessions flooded police stations. Doctors, actors, random citizens. But none could be tied definitively to the crime. The crime scene suggested surgical precision, leading some to believe the killer had medical knowledge. But evidence handling in 1947 was limited. DNA testing did not exist. Crime scene contamination was common. The question remains, was the killer someone close to her, or someone who vanished into history? Nearly 80 decades later, the case remains unsolved. In 1912, in a small Iowa town, 8 people were murdered in their sleep. 6 members of the Moore family, 2 young guests. The weapon? An axe found inside the home. The killer stayed in the house for hours after the murders, covered mirrors, placed cloth over victims' faces. Multiple suspects were arrested. One man even confessed, but later recanted. No conviction ever held. The case suffered from contaminated crime scene, overcrowded investigation, public panic. Small-town policing in 1912 lacked forensic methods. Whoever committed the crime left almost no trace. Over a century later, the mystery persists. In 1982, 7 people in Chicago died after taking Tylenol capsules. The capsules had been laced with cyanide. There was no forced entry, no struggle, just poisoned medication sitting on store shelves. Authorities launched a nationwide recall. The case changed product packaging laws forever. But the person responsible? Never caught. Investigators believed the poisoning occurred after bottles were placed on store shelves, meaning random tampering. Thousands of interviews were conducted. One suspect was heavily investigated, but insufficient evidence prevented charges. The randomness of the attack made profiling difficult. Was it domestic terrorism? a disgruntled employee, or someone seeking attention. The identity remains unknown. On December 26, 1996, 6-year-old John Benet Ramsey was found dead in her family's Colorado home. A ransom note was discovered. Strange phrasing, odd demands. The case received massive media coverage. Suspicion shifted between family members, intruder theory, unknown suspects. DNA evidence has been retested multiple times. Still, no charges have been filed. The crime scene was heavily compromised. Friends and relatives were inside the home before full forensic control. Media pressure intensified scrutiny. The case remains one of the most debated unsolved murders in modern American history. What do these cases have in common? Early investigative limitations, media interference, contaminated evidence, and a lack of modern forensic tools. Some were committed before DNA analysis existed. Others were complicated by public attention and panic. In each case, one critical mistake may have changed everything. Unsolved murders leave behind more than mystery. They leave families waiting, communities unsettled, and investigators with unfinished work. Perhaps one day, new technology, new witnesses, or new evidence will bring answers. Until then, these cases remain open. Which case do you believe will be solved first?